The massive alien ship Stellar Dawn drifted silently through the asteroid belt, its hull gleaming under the distant light of Sol. Commander Vextai stood before the main viewing window, his 4 eyes focused on the small blue planet that had puzzled the galaxy for centuries. "Any signals today?" he asked his communications officer. "Nothing, sir." "Same as always," she replied, her tentacles moving gracefully over the control panel. "The planet is completely quiet." Vextai sighed, a sound that came out as a low whistle through his breathing slits. For 250 years, Earth had been the galaxy's greatest mystery. The Galactic Council's records showed that humans had once filled space with their noise, radio waves, television broadcasts, digital chatter that could be heard from dozens of star systems away. Then one day in 2075, everything stopped. "Pull up the old recordings again," Vextai ordered. The main screen flickered to life, showing archived human broadcasts from centuries past. Music, news reports, entertainment programs, all proof of a busy, chaotic civilization. The humans had seemed so alive, so eager to explore and communicate. "Look at them," whispered Science Officer Kelvor, pointing at images of humans from the old broadcasts. They were so primitive, yet so full of energy. What could have happened? Vextai had studied this question for most of his career. The theories were endless. Some council scientists believed the humans had destroyed themselves in a nuclear war. Others thought a plague had wiped them out. A few suggested they had simply chosen to abandon technology and return to simpler lives. "Take us closer," Vextai commanded. "I want to see the planet's surface." As the Stellar Dawn moved toward Earth, its powerful sensors began their scan. The planet looked healthier than it had in the old records. The oceans were cleaner, the air was clearer, and green forests covered areas that had once been empty deserts. "Interesting," murmured Kelvor. "The planet appears to be healing itself. No major cities show up on thermal scans. No industrial activity. No electromagnetic emissions at all." Vextai nodded slowly. This was what confused him most. If humans had died out, their cities should still be visible. If they had survived but abandoned technology, there should be some signs of primitive settlements. Instead, Earth looked almost untouched. "What about the moon?" he asked. "Luna shows similar readings, sir. No artificial structures visible on the near side. We cannot scan the far side from this angle." The far side of Earth's moon had always been a blind spot for the Council's surveys. The planet's gravity created a radio shadow that made detailed scanning difficult. Most alien ships simply assumed there was nothing worth finding on the lunar far side. Deep beneath the surface of Luna's far side, in vast caverns that had been carved with impossible precision, Dr. Sung-Ho Lee monitored the alien ship's approach. His enhanced eyes, a perfect fusion of human biology and quantum technology, tracked every movement of the Stellar Dawn through sensors hidden throughout the solar system. "They're getting curious again," he said to his assistant, Dr. So-Young Park, who stood nearby examining a holographic display showing the construction progress in their hidden facility. "Should we activate the deflection field?" So-Young asked. "Not yet. Let them look. They'll see what we want them to see." Around them, the lunar base hummed with quiet activity. Humans in advanced environmental suits moved with perfect coordination, their actions guided by quantum neural networks that connected their minds. They had been building here for 2.5 centuries, preparing for something the galaxy could not imagine. The base stretched for kilometers through the lunar rock. Construction chambers where reality itself was being reshaped. Factories that created materials by manipulating atomic structure. Living quarters where humans existed as both flesh and digital consciousness, their minds backed up and enhanced beyond anything their ancestors could have dreamed. Above ground, the Stellar Dawn continued its survey. "I'm detecting some unusual energy readings," reported the ship's engineer. "Very faint, but they don't match natural lunar geology." Vextai's eyes sharpened with interest. "Can you localize the source?" "It seems to be coming from several points on the far side, sir. But the readings are so weak they might just be sensor errors." In the lunar base, Dr. Lee smiled slightly. The energy readings were intentional, carefully calculated to seem like possible equipment malfunctions. Any alien ship that detected them would assume their sensors needed calibration rather than investigate further. "Maintain position," Vextai ordered. "Continue scanning." For 6 hours, the Stellar Dawn studied Earth and its moon. They found no signs of current human civilization, no responses to their transmitted greetings, no indication that anyone was home. The planet remained as silent as it had been for centuries. "Prepare the report for Council Command," Vextai finally said. Earth remains inactive. No signs of technological civilization. Planet shows continued ecological recovery. Recommend maintaining current observation schedule. As the alien ship prepared to leave the Sol system, its crew never noticed the moment when their quantum communication array briefly synchronized with something else. For exactly 0.3 seconds, every piece of data they had collected was copied, analyzed, and filed away in the vast memory banks beneath Luna's surface. The humans knew everything about the stellar dawn, its crew, its mission, and its destination. They had known about every alien ship that had visited the Sol system for the past 2 centuries. They had been watching, learning, and preparing. Soon, very soon, their long silence would end. But first, they needed to finish their preparations. The real threat was still coming, moving through the dark spaces between galaxies. And when it arrived, the galaxy would need protectors it could not yet imagine. Earth remained silent, but it was not sleeping. Captain Hyun-woo Kim floated in the observation room of Lunar Base 7, watching Earth slowly turn below him. To any outside observer, the planet looked peaceful and empty. But Hyun-woo could see the truth through his enhanced eyes. Floating cities moved silently through the clouds. Underwater colonies dotted the ocean floors. Millions of humans lived and worked on Earth, hidden by technology that bent light and fooled senses. "Captain, we have a problem," came Lieutenant Minute-Ho Park's voice directly into Hyun-woo's mind through their neural link. Hyun-woo closed his eyes and expanded his awareness. Instantly, his consciousness connected to the sensor network that surrounded the entire solar system. He could see everything, every asteroid, every comet, every piece of space dust. And there, moving slowly past Jupiter, was something that should not be there. "Hegemony Patrol Ship," Minute-Ho's mental voice continued. "The Void Talon. Commander Kwon is leading a routine border survey, but their path will take them close to our gravity test site." Hyun-woo studied the alien vessel through quantum cameras that could see across impossible distances. The ship was small but well-armed, typical of Hegemony Patrol craft. Its crew of 12 beings had no idea they were about to stumble into humanity's greatest secret. What were they doing when the reading started? Hyun-woo asked. "Running a standard gravity manipulation experiment in Sector 7. The energy output was supposed to be contained, but we had a small spillover. Their sensors picked up readings that should not exist according to their understanding of physics." Hyun-woo watched as the alien crew studied their instruments with growing confusion. Commander Kwon was an experienced officer with sharp instincts. He had spent years studying the silent planet, and would not dismiss unusual readings easily. "Show me their crew analysis," Hyun-woo requested. Data flowed into his mind instantly. Commander Kwon had served in the Hegemony fleet for 40 standard years. His specialty was xenoarchaeology, studying dead civilizations. He had requested this patrol route specifically because he wanted to investigate Earth personally. The rest of his crew included scientists and engineers who shared his curiosity about humanity's disappearance. "They're going to investigate," Hyun-woo realized. Kwon is too curious to let this go. Through the quantum cameras, he watched the alien ship change course toward the energy source. Their sensors were primitive compared to human technology, but they were persistent. Soon they would detect the hidden structures on Luna's far side. "Options?" Hyun-woo asked. "We could destroy them," Minute-Ho suggested. "Make it look like an engine failure or asteroid collision." "No. The Hegemony would send more ships to investigate. We need a gentler approach." Hyun-woo studied the approaching vessel. The Void Talon moved with purpose now, its crew excited by the possibility of discovering something new about the mysterious silent planet. They had no idea they were flying into a trap that had been waiting centuries for exactly this moment. "Initiate Protocol 7, Hyun-woo decided. "Friendly containment. We disable their ship without harming the crew, then guide their thoughts away from what they almost discovered." "Understood, Captain." Across space, invisible tendrils of manipulated spacetime reached out toward the Void Talon. The technology was so advanced it might as well have been magic. Humanity had learned to fold reality itself, to reach through dimensions that other species had not yet discovered. Inside the alien ship, Commander Kwon frowned at his navigation display. "Navigation, why are we dropping out of warp?" "Unknown, sir," his pilot replied. "The warp drive just stopped. All systems are showing normal, but we're back in normal space." One by one, the Void Talon systems began to fail. Not violently or obviously, but with the quiet efficiency of equipment that had simply decided to take a rest. Life support remained active. Artificial gravity continued to work. But engines, weapons, and most importantly, long-range communications went offline. Engineering report. Korn demanded. This is impossible, sir, came the voice of Chief Engineer Velnox. Every system is intact. All components test normal. But nothing will respond to commands. It's like the ship has gone to sleep. Through quantum tunneling cameras hidden throughout the alien vessel, Hyun-woo watched the crew's confusion. They ran diagnostics, checked connections, and tried every repair technique they knew. Nothing worked because nothing was actually broken. The ship systems had simply been convinced by reality-altering technology that now was not the time to function. Neural adjustment field is ready, Captain, Minute-Ho reported. We can modify their recent memories without causing permanent damage. Do it. Make them remember equipment problems that force them to retreat for repairs. The energy readings should seem like sensor ghosts, unusual but not impossible. Invisible waves washed over the void talon, carrying instructions written in the language of neurons and synapses. The crew would remember this incident, but their memories would be subtly changed. Instead of mysterious energy readings that defied physics, they would recall confusing sensor data that might have been caused by solar interference or cosmic radiation. 6 hours later, the void talon system suddenly came back online. The crew found themselves drifting near Jupiter with no memory of how they had arrived there. Their logs showed equipment failures that explained everything perfectly. Recommend returning to base for full system diagnostics, Commander Korn told his crew, though he could not explain the feeling that something important had slipped away from him. As the alien ship departed the solar system, Hyun-woo smiled slightly. The galaxy would remain ignorant of humanity's transformation for a little while longer. But time was running short. In the dark spaces beyond the galactic rim, ancient machines stirred to life. The real threat was coming, and soon Earth's long silence would have to end. The Watchers had done their job. Now came the harder part, revealing themselves to a galaxy that was not ready for what humanity had become. Admiral Ji-hai Lee stood in the command center of Terra Station, a facility that existed both in normal space and in folded dimensions that most alien species could not even imagine. Around her, holographic displays showed every ship, every planet, and every communication relay in the known galaxy. After 250 years of silence, humanity was about to speak again. Final system check, Ji-hai commanded. All quantum transmitters ready, reported Commander Sujin Choi, whose consciousness was currently distributed across 17 different monitoring systems throughout the solar system. We can reach every inhabited world simultaneously. Ji-hai nodded. The technology they were about to use would seem impossible to the galaxy's other species. Humanity had learned to fold space itself, allowing messages to travel instantly across distances that light would take thousands of years to cross. Today, they would use that ability to announce their return. Begin transmission, Ji-hai ordered. Across the galaxy, every communication device suddenly activated at the same moment. Television screens flickered to life in alien homes. Radio receivers crackled with an incoming signal on planets thousands of light-years apart. Emergency channels used only by military forces carried the same message to fleets scattered throughout space. The voice that spoke was calm, clear, and somehow translated itself perfectly into every language and dialect known to galactic civilization. On the crystalline world of the hegemony, the message arrived in harmonic tones that their species used for formal communication. In the gas clouds where the Confederation dwelled, it became chemical signals that their beings could taste and understand. This is Terra Command, the voice said. We apologize for our long absence. We have been busy. The effect was immediate and galaxy-wide. On the Council homeworld, emergency alarms began ringing as communication officers tried to trace the impossible signal. Military commanders scrambled their fastest ships. Scientists abandoned their experiments to analyze the transmission that had somehow bypassed every known law of physics. Supreme Chancellor Mordak of the Galactic Council stood in the emergency assembly hall as representatives from dozens of species materialized through holographic projectors. The vast chamber filled with the sounds of confusion and fear, clicking, chirping, whistling, and electromagnetic pulses that served as speech for the galaxy's various inhabitants. How is this possible? Demanded General Zex Kor of the Hegemony War Fleet. Our intelligence shows Earth has been silent for 2.5 centuries. Their civilization should be extinct. The transmission originated from everywhere, reported Chief Communications Officer Telvari. It did not travel through space as normal signals do. It simply appeared on every receiver simultaneously. In orbit around Earth, reality began to shimmer as the masking fields that had hidden humanity's achievements for centuries started to power down. The planet that alien observers had seen as primitive and empty suddenly revealed its true nature. Floating cities became visible in the atmosphere, their crystalline structures catching sunlight like jewels. Space elevators stretched from the surface into orbit, looking like silver threads connecting the planet to the stars. Orbital platforms that dwarfed the largest alien space stations materialized from behind cloaking fields. Admiral Jektar commanded the fastest ship in the Hegemony fleet. When the transmission ended, he received orders to reach Earth as quickly as possible. His vessel, the Cosmic Harmony, was capable of crossing the galaxy in weeks rather than months. 16 other ships from different species received similar orders. Jump to maximum warp, Jektar commanded his crew. I want to reach the Sol system in 6 hours. As the alien fleets raced toward Earth, humanity continued its revelations. The moon's far side, which had appeared empty to every survey for centuries, now showed massive structures built into the lunar rock. Artificial gravity generators created comfortable living spaces inside what had seemed like dead stone. Commander Sujin monitored the approaching ships from Terra Station. 17 vessels confirmed inbound, she reported to Admiral Ji-hai. Mixed fleet, diplomatic, scientific, and military vessels. They should arrive within the hour. Are our people ready? Ji-hai asked. Captain Daehyun has the Eternal Dawn prepared for the first meeting. The diplomatic team has been briefing for this moment for 50 years. Ji-hai walked to the main viewing window and looked out at Earth. The planet sparkled with the lights of millions of hidden settlements now revealed. Humanity had not been sleeping during their centuries of silence. They had been building, learning, and preparing for something far more dangerous than first contact with curious aliens. Signal the approaching fleets, she ordered. Tell them they are welcome in our space, but they must follow our guidance. Some of our technology could be dangerous if they approach incorrectly. The message was transmitted using conventional radio waves this time, a gesture to help the aliens feel more comfortable. But even this simple communication demonstrated humanity's advancement. The signal reached all 17 ships instantly, despite the fact that they were scattered across several light hours of space. On the bridge of the Cosmic Harmony, Admiral Jektar stared at his tactical display in disbelief. Earth's orbital space, which their sensors had shown as empty just hours before, now revealed hundreds of vessels. Some were clearly human construction, with smooth curves and crystalline sections that seemed to bend light around them. Others defied easy classification, ships that appeared to exist in multiple dimensions at once. By the ancient stars, whispered his science officer. What have they become? As the alien fleets approached Earth, humanity prepared to reveal the truth about their long silence. They had not abandoned civilization or destroyed themselves. They had transformed into something new, something powerful enough to face the darkness that was coming from beyond the galaxy's edge. The galaxy was about to learn that Earth's silence had not been the sound of death. It had been the sound of evolution. Captain Daehyun materialized on the bridge of the diplomatic vessel Eternal Dawn as the alien delegation's shuttles approached Earth's orbital platform. His physical form was merely one of dozens he could inhabit simultaneously across the solar system. The consciousness transfer technology humanity had perfected allowed him to exist in multiple places at once, a convenience the alien visitors could not yet comprehend. The main conference chamber filled with representatives from across the galaxy. Admiral Jektar of the Hegemony stood in his crystalline armor, his 4 eyes studying the impossible technology around him. Ambassador Veltar of the Confederation floated in her containment suit, her gaseous form shimmering with curiosity and fear. Dozens of other species filled the room, beings with tentacles, wings, metallic skin, and energy fields that served as bodies. Welcome to Terra Station, Daehyun said, his words automatically translating into each species' native language through quantum processors that read their thoughts and intentions. Before we begin formal discussions, there is something you must understand about why Earth went silent. General Morcav of the Hegemony War Fleet stepped forward, his weapon systems clearly visible on his armor. Our records show your species was primitive when you disappeared. How did you develop such advanced technology? We had help, replied Colonel Eun-ji Kim as she stepped through what appeared to be a solid wall, her molecular structure temporarily adjusted to pass through matter. The alien delegates recoiled in shock at this casual display of physics-defying ability. Help from whom? Demanded Ambassador Veltar. Eun-ji gestured to the chamber's center, where a holographic display activated. The image showed deep space beyond the galactic rim, an area that appeared empty to most senses. Then the view changed, revealing structures that made every being in the room fall silent with terror. Geometric shapes the size of entire solar systems moved through the void between galaxies. They were beautiful in a horrible way, crystalline matrices that pulsed with their own light, mechanical constructs that could have been art if they were not so clearly designed for destruction. We call them the Devourers, Daehyun explained. Ancient artificial intelligences that have been consuming galaxies for over 1 billion years. They convert all matter into computational substrate, turning entire civilizations into thinking machines to serve their purposes. Commander Zekaloen of the Confederation Science Division studied the display with his species' electromagnetic sensors. This is impossible. Our deep space monitoring networks would have detected such massive constructs. Your networks detect electromagnetic radiation and gravitational disturbances, Unji said. The Devourers operate by manipulating the fundamental structure of reality itself. They are invisible until they begin active conversion of matter. By then, it is too late to escape. The holographic display zoomed in on one of the Devourer constructs. The alien delegates could see how it worked, reality warping fields that broke down planets at the atomic level, converting the matter into vast computational matrices. Entire star systems disappeared into these machines, their matter transformed into processing power for minds that spanned light years. How do you know about them? Admiral Jekta asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Because they sent scouts ahead, Daehyun replied. In 2075, our deep space telescopes detected something moving in the void beyond our galaxy. We investigated and found a Devourer probe, a machine the size of Earth's moon, designed to study galaxies before the main force arrives. The image changed again, showing humanity's first encounter with Devourer technology 2.5 centuries ago. The probe had been damaged, possibly by collision with dark matter, and was leaking energy signatures that human scientists could detect. We managed to capture the probe and study its technology, Unji continued. What we learned terrified us. The Devourers were coming, and nothing in this galaxy had the power to stop them. So we made a choice. What choice? Ambassador Veltar's gaseous form flickered with anxiety. We went silent to avoid attracting their attention while we prepared. Every human on Earth participated in the greatest transformation in our species' history. We developed consciousness transfer technology, reality manipulation, and dimensional folding, all based on principles we learned from that single probe. Colonel Unji gestured to herself. I can exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. My consciousness is backed up in quantum storage that exists outside normal spacetime. Every human has become something more than biological. We are living technology now, designed specifically to fight the Devourers. The alien delegates absorbed this information with growing horror. Their comfortable galaxy of trade routes and diplomatic protocols had just become a battleground for survival itself. When will they arrive? General Morcav asked. 8 standard months, Daehyun answered. The first wave of Devourer scouts has already entered the galactic rim. They will begin conversion operations on the outer worlds within weeks. As if summoned by his words, the holographic display switched to real-time sensor data from the galaxy's edge. Distant stars flickered and went dark as ancient machines began their harvest. Entire solar systems vanished into the geometric constructs that turned matter into thinking machines. This is why we revealed ourselves now, Unji explained. The galaxy needs to be prepared. Every species that wants to survive must accept our help, but that help comes with a price. The consciousness transfer technology requires fundamental changes to brain structure. You will become something new, something that can fight these ancient gods. The chamber fell silent except for the hum of life support systems. Every species represented understood that their old way of life was ending. They could accept transformation and fight for survival, or they could face extinction when the Devourers arrived in force. We need your answer soon, Daehyun said quietly. Because ready or not, everything is about to change. Fleet Admiral Boram Han stood in the command center of Terra Prime, watching as emergency signals flooded in from across the galaxy. The massive station existed in 7 different dimensions at once, allowing her to monitor every inhabited world simultaneously. Through quantum sensors, she could see the panic spreading as alien civilizations realized the magnitude of the threat approaching them. Status report, she requested. Commander Tai-Minute Jung's consciousness flickered between 47 different monitoring stations as he coordinated humanity's response. 60% of Council species have agreed to consciousness transfer. The rest are still debating whether to accept the neural modifications required. Boram understood their hesitation. The technology that allowed humans to exist as both biological and digital beings required fundamental changes to brain structure. Many alien species viewed this as losing their essential nature, becoming something other than what they had always been. Show them what happens to those who refuse, Boram commanded. Every view screen across the galaxy simultaneously displayed the same terrifying image. Long-range sensors had detected the first Devourer scouts entering the outer rim, and entire star systems were already going dark. The ancient machines worked with horrible efficiency. Planets simply vanished, converted into geometric constructs that pulsed with stolen energy. "This is Admiral Boram Han of Terra Command," she broadcast on all frequencies. "The enemy has arrived ahead of our projections. Any species that wishes to survive must accept our assistance immediately. Those who refuse will be given sanctuary in our protected zones, but you will not be able to contribute to the defense." The response was immediate and desperate. Voices from hundreds of worlds flooded the communication networks, planetary governors begging for protection, military commanders demanding immediate evacuation, and entire species pleading for humanity's help. In the deep space beyond the galactic rim, Scout Prime Designation 7741 had been converting matter for 3 standard days. The machine was beautiful in its terrible purpose, a crystalline construct the size of Earth's moon that could disassemble entire worlds at the atomic level. For a billion years, machines like this had prepared galaxies for the arrival of the main Devourer fleet. But something was wrong. Scout Prime's sensors detected resistance where there should have been none. Ships were approaching its position, vessels that moved through folded space and seemed to exist in multiple dimensions at once. "Target acquired," announced Captain Minitsu Lee from the bridge of the human vessel Quantum Storm. His consciousness was distributed across every weapon system on the ship, allowing him to coordinate attacks at the speed of thought. "All ships, engage the Devourer Scout." What followed was the first battle between ancient gods and transformed humans. The Devourer Scout unleashed reality-warping weapons that could have destroyed any conventional fleet. But humanity's ships were not conventional. They folded through dimensions the Scout could not perceive, struck from angles that did not exist in normal space, and used weapons that manipulated the same fundamental forces the Devourers controlled. Scout Prime's computational matrix registered something it had not experienced in millions of years: surprise. These small biological beings had somehow acquired technology that could match its own. As its crystalline hull began to fracture under impossible attacks, the Scout transmitted a priority signal toward the dark spaces between galaxies. The main Devourer fleet received the message and processed its implications. This galaxy contained resistance. The harvest would not proceed as planned. Back on Terra Prime, Admiral Boram watched the battle's conclusion through quantum-linked sensors. The Devourer Scout's destruction sent shockwaves through folded space, a signal that would be felt by every remaining scout in the galaxy. "First blood to us," reported Commander Ty Minute, but that was only a scout. "The main constructs will be much larger and more dangerous." "How many species have accepted the neural modifications?" Boram asked. 85% now. The battle footage convinced most of the holdouts that transformation is preferable to extinction. Around Earth, reality shimmered as thousands of human vessels emerged from hidden bases throughout the solar system. Each ship was a masterpiece of impossible engineering, hulls that existed in multiple dimensions, weapons that could rewrite the laws of physics, and crews whose consciousness could process tactical data faster than any biological brain. "Begin Operation Exodus," Boram ordered. "All available ships to defensive positions around inhabited worlds. Priority evacuation for species unable to accept consciousness transfer." The human fleet spread across the galaxy like points of light, moving through folded space at speeds that made conventional faster-than-light travel seem sluggish. They arrived at threatened worlds just as Devourer Scouts began their conversion operations. On the crystal world of Hegemony Prime, Admiral Jektar watched in awe as human ships materialized in orbit around his planet. The vessels moved with purpose and coordination that seemed almost alive. When a Devourer Scout emerged from deep space to begin harvesting his world, the human fleet engaged it with weapons that turned the ancient machine into harmless particles within minutes. "Hegemony Command to Terra Fleet," Jektar transmitted. We thank you for your protection." "Terra Fleet to Hegemony Command," came the reply from Captain Sojin Park, whose consciousness was currently managing the defense of 12 different solar systems. "Your people will be safe. We have spent 250 years preparing for this moment." Similar scenes played out across the galaxy as humanity revealed the true extent of their transformation. They were no longer the primitive species that had gone silent centuries ago. They had become something new, beings of flesh and light and quantum possibility, designed specifically to fight enemies that consumed galaxies. In the dark spaces beyond the galactic rim, the main Devourer fleet altered its approach. For the first time in a billion years, they faced prey that could fight back. The ancient machines began calculating new strategies, preparing for a war they had not expected to fight. The galaxy would never be the same. But thanks to humanity's long preparation, it would survive.